Phil Spencer was recently on Kinda Funny Games, and we learned his plans for the Xbox controller, what he thinks about the industry, and a few other cool things were also learned. Let's go over everything right now. So before I go over everything, don't forget, if you like these sort of videos, please hit the subscribe button and hit that bell to know when I post. Post every day at 7 a.m. But anyway, let's get to the story. So the big one that everybody was talking about was the controller. And for me, I don't actually think this is the big story. I'll get to what I thought was much more interesting in just a second. But on the controller note, just to get it out of the way, because it was a little interesting, but not like the megaton I think that the internet made it. So basically he said, we're definitely thinking about different kinds of devices that can bring more games to more places. There's probably some work that we'll do on the controller. I think Sony's done a nice job with their controller, and we kind of look at some of that and think there are things that we should go do. But we're probably not in the more bespoke accessory place right now, he added. We just look at what happens on Windows and other places and see if there's a unique opportunity for us. Right now, I don't think there's anything that's obvious to me. So on the controller note, to recap, he thinks the PS5 controller is kind of cool and the accessories there, but it seems like they're not in a rush to do any of the controller stuff. And that was the story that was blowing up the internet today. But I wanted to talk about more of his reflection on the industry and stuff. But a few things about Phil that he revealed during the interview. Basically, he doesn't watch TV, and that's why he has so much time to game. He was recently playing Psychonauts 2. He stopped because he wants to play the final build and get the achievements. He really likes crossplay, and this was actually one of the more interesting things that he pointed out. He said he likes crossplay, and he feels that it's weird to explain to someone when a game doesn't have it. Like, it's interesting that he brought it up, because when you think about it, like if I'm going to explain to a family member that, okay, I want to play this game, but I have to buy it on PlayStation, I have to buy it on Xbox, and I have to buy it on PC. Outriders would be a good example, right? A cross-platform game where you have to buy it in a few different locations to play together. Or maybe they added that. I'm trying to... I got roasted last time I talked about Outriders. Destiny. Xbox players still can't play with PlayStation players. Oh, no, wait. That one got updated too. See, all these games are slowly updating their crossplay features. But imagine a game like when Destiny didn't have crossplay, and you would have to have a PlayStation 5 version and an Xbox version. If you wanted to play with your PlayStation friends, you would have to, get all the goodies there. And if you wanted to play with your Xbox friends, you would have to get all the goodies there, right? Destiny 2 comes along. They fix that. Cross save is implemented, and crossplay is slowly but surely being rolling out. He points out that it's weird to explain to people when games don't do something like that, and he hopes to see that sort of barrier be taken down. And that's actually really nice to hear. Hopefully those conversations can continue, and we actually get to a world where those sort of things just aren't really necessary. At least with crossplay games, it just doesn't really make sense anymore. So like when you're talking about Xbox now, Halo Infinite right around the corner. PC players can play with console players. They're doing it. They're doing input-based matchmaking so that you don't get stomped against the keyboard player, or I don't know. I've seen some pretty good controller players in like Fortnite, for example. So maybe that's not even true anymore. Point stands. It's input-based matchmaking, meaning you can play with people on the same input device as you. So anyway, he also talked about game preservation, and sort of brought up that he's worried about it because of how much digital is taking over the industry right now. And I found that interesting. I really wish the Kinda Funny crew would have sort of talked about that DRM issue the Xbox has, where basically you need to be online to activate it. I understand why it's on there, but it seems like there should be some sort of offline option. And I would have liked to hear him elaborate on if that's being worked on or if that's on the way, because that is sort of prohibitive if you just want to play offline. He also talked about how they basically use Game Pass and seeing how interested people are in certain games to say, oh, hey, people are super into this old game. Maybe we should bring back this franchise. He called it a tastemaker. He said, seeing more people playing something gives them data about what they should bring back. Now, I don't know if they got data about Perfect Dark and how they landed on that. But yeah. He also talked about some of his failures. He talked about the failure of acquiring FASFA, the Shadowrun and MechWarrior team, and how that wasn't one of his brightest moments. Reiterated that they are not that into VR, basically that, yep, VR is out there, and he really liked, I think it was Oculus Quest 2, where you don't necessarily need the PC, you can just kind of walk around with it on. It's getting there. I mean, I'm with him. I'm not super into VR as a gamer. I have the Valve machine that I've played a few times, but I'm just not into putting this big thing on my head and running around. I think as it gets smaller and the technology advances, yeah, they did say they're keeping an eye on the PC market there. He also brought up From Software and how he hangs out with that crew when he goes to Japan, basically, and he wants to make sure that he has hardware, or he reminds them that he has hardware to support their games to the best of their ability, which is really, really interesting. So anyway, Game Pass was the last thing they talked about, and the one note he said there, it's sort of their summer of gaming now, or their whatever the thing that Ryan on Unlocked always talks about wanting to come back. But anyway, they really like that it showcases all these smaller games, and he really likes that it gives them a chance to help developers create things that wouldn't necessarily have been created without Game Pass. And that's something I've talked about a few times on the channel. But then he talked about the main thing that he talked about, and I'm sorry it took so long to get here, was he talked about the game industry as a whole. So basically, they made $200 billion a year. Last year, the industry grew by 19%. And that's not Microsoft, that's the whole gaming industry, right? $200 billion. And last year, it grew by 19%. He said, no matter who it is, his question is, how do we keep growing together as an industry? And I really admired him saying that. He doesn't see it as a pie where someone else has to get smaller for them to grow. And that was interesting because to me, I can make that correlation to how I always talk about the whole parity thing. I make my fake graph where Sony's going like this, and I feel like Xbox is going like this, and eventually they're going to sort of meet parity because they're both using different strategies, right? Sony is going with the AAA strategy. They've increased pricing. They're still moving console units regularly. They're making good money. They invested a ton of money into whatever they're going to do with their digital plan. Xbox is a little ahead of them there. And they seem to be, gaining steam every day with Xbox Game Pass based on just user data, I guess. Like subscriptions were constantly on the uptick. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But he doesn't see it as a pie where someone else needs to get smaller for Xbox to grow, right? So, I mean, if you read between the lines, he's likely talking about, Nintendo and Sony. He even talked about Nintendo and how they do something so different where they're just making this phenomenal console that it just speaks to so many different types of gamers, right? And you get access to all of these different types of games. And then you look at Sony, they're doing a thing. Those companies aren't going to go away if Xbox suddenly starts doing good. So when I do my fake graph and people get all mad about it, I find it a little ridiculous because I'm not saying oh, all of a sudden Sony's going down or something like that. It's not going to happen. All I'm saying is I think it's more interesting and it's better for the industry when all companies are running on all cylinders and creating rockin' stuff because we all benefit from that. The whole gaming industry benefits from that. And to hear him echo that, I really did enjoy hearing that sentiment. So he also said that the industry should work together to take down roadblocks. And that's sort of one of the things that I probably get frustrated with Sony about the most, like hearing about the $25,000 thing for indie devs, how they don't have placement on the store, hearing about the prohibitive costs to adding crossplay to your game. Those are just things that I don't see as positive influences for the industry. Regardless, let's say those indie games are PlayStation exclusive. PlayStation needs to figure that out. It's not It's not a win for them. It's not a win for the industry. It's weird, right? And hopefully they can address that and they knock off this whole cost for crossplay thing. If they've addressed that, please let me know about it. I would love to hear that, hey, they've addressed that. They don't do that anymore, but I don't think I've heard that anywhere. And I don't know if we ever will, because we were never supposed to know that they charge for that in the first place. Anyway, so he looks at the bar they set and is inspired by what other people do. So he said he, looks at the conferences that they're going to do. He looks at what other people have done in the industry, what they like, what he takes things that he likes from them and tries to implement them with what he plans for Xbox. He was really proud of his last showcase, followed up by the extended showcase hosted by Paris. He's all about diversity and inclusion. He brought that up again. All good stuff from Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox. He is just a great interview. It's always great to hear him talk. And he always has one or two interesting things that are revealed during his conversations with people in the industry. This was no exception. And let me know what your favorite piece of news was from this interview with the Kind of Funny crew. Good to see Tim on camera. Good to see Greg on camera. Missed those guys. Worked with them a long, long time ago. Feels like another lifetime. But cool to see them interviewing Phil Spencer. Anyway, love the interview. Some really, really interesting insight into the industry and into some strategies Xbox will be implementing. What did you think? What was your favorite thing? Let me know in the comments below. And while I have you, hey, thank you so much for watching. If you like this sort of video, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed thus far. Don't forget to the bell. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you know when my content posts. Recording this one at 1:36 a.m. I got to stop this. This is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you so much to all the members. Memberships are a thing YouTube offers, so I turned them on. I really appreciate everybody supporting me there. If you want to become a member, just click the thing that'll allow you to become a member, and thank you there. Hey, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get some rest. I recorded one a few days ago, so we got this one. This was like a news one, and I have one that could sort of air anytime in the next few weeks, so you'll probably be seeing that soon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you soon. Bye for now, everybody.